so now I'm a little iffy because I'm not very happy with all this damn molded. I'm not happy with the fact that I feel like I'm low on ammo. Not happy about any of this. I'm not like entirely low on ammo, but I know it's coming. Come on. Where you at? There he is. Shit. Oh, just fucking die. Okay. That was... that was better, I guess. Like I said previously, I'm not a huge fan of the molded. Like, I think they're really cool looking, and I feel like, especially when we start to see other variants of them throughout the game, I think they're kind of cool, and they're interesting. But like, again, I don't like the fact that they seem to take like 400 fucking shots to kill, and I really don't like the fact that like you don't really get a lot of feedback from them. Like you can shoot them in limbs and stuff, and they don't really seem to react to anything that you do, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of dealing with them. Now, technically, I could have just run past that one, I guess, which the game kind of encourages you to do. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of doing that a lot in RE games. I never have really done that. Well, Remake, I guess I would, but like that's because Remake has the whole Crimson Head mechanic. So I'd rather, rather there not be like, I'd rather not be killing a bunch of zombies that way. But like, let's see. Okay. Alright, open. Ooh.
I was gonna be your father. Now she says he will be her father. No. I will find him and I will make him suffer. And you, my friend, will help me.
Alright, and spoiler alert, there's a boss fight coming up. And I have no idea how well or how badly it's going to go. To be honest, I hope it goes well, but I'm not holding my breath. I never do with this game. So far in this playthrough, I've been now this boss, like, it's not exactly the toughest boss fight ever conceived, but it's also kind of, it can be tough. Oof. Yeah, that's what's left of our police officer friend. He's very dead, unfortunately. Okay. Let's see. Okay, what am I gonna make? Alright. Okay. So here we go. Oh look, it's the red dog's head. I'm gonna try to, but hi there. Um, Apologies for having to cut in and literally knock out the audio from the game. But whilst editing and reviewing this footage, it came to my attention that the audio, for whatever reason, became extremely unpleasant. Possibly due to the fact that the in-game audio coming from my headset was actually looping somehow into my microphone, which created a um, like a looping effect, which led to some horrifyingly nasty screeches and squelches and really awful sounds, to the point where it was giving me a headache just listening to it. So in lieu of um, deleting this entire piece of footage, I've decided to try and commentate on it, um, minus its audio. And so, yeah, minor technical difficulty aside, this fight actually apparently went really well. Jack, for whatever reason, wasn't quite as aggressive as I thought he would be. And that's kind of the trick with the fight. All you have to do, you just have to be aggressive to him, and he won't really give you too much trouble. You can use, obviously, the bodies hanging on the ceiling to, kind of unsteady his stance, and get him knocked about and stunned. Started the fight, just shoot him a few times in the head. That'll get his parasite to pop out. Once that's happened, he'll grab the scissor chainsaws that he utilizes, and then you can grab the chainsaw. And the neat trick about the chainsaw that you grab is that once you have it, if you just hold the L2 or left trigger button, if you're playing on Xbox One or PC with a controller, you can then hit R2 or right trigger and do what is called a thrust attack with the chainsaw, which also doubles as a guard. So essentially, once you have the chainsaw, if you're doing it correctly, Jack can never actually hit you, which, as you can see from this footage, I actually got through the entire fight without taking a single hit from him, which is really nice. It actually went a lot better than I expected. As a matter of fact, the recording audio, you can actually, I wish you could actually hear it. I wish you could hear it without it being horrifyingly bad on your ears. Because again, you really cannot understand a word I'm saying because it's all screeched and squelched and just bad. I'm basically like really, really happy with how the fight went, and really, really shocked that it went as well as it did. Um, but it's a fun boss fight. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. For a first-time player, it might be it might be asking a little much of somebody initially. Like if you're not 100% acclimated with everything that's going on in the game and how combat in the game works and stuff, you may find yourself having a little trouble. But just give it a few tries, and eventually you'll get through it. It's not a big deal. Now at this point, I've got the last Cerberus head. So I believe I actually do make a beeline for the Cerberus door and head outside the house. Essentially, this is the last real major part of the guest house, as it's called, that you'll see in this run. Um, I do come back to it a few times, but mostly just for good housekeeping, grabbing some items that I was unable to get to previously, and just picking up a couple of things I missed. Eventually, I do come back to it for one major thing, or rather two major things, but we're not quite there yet. So uh, that's just that. Um, I don't know. I've got to actually keep this going for like another 10 minutes, and I hate to because I absolutely despise the idea of doing a straight up after the fact hindsight commentary on stuff I've previously played. I find it to be a bit stupid, to be quite honest. Um, but in on that note, I guess I could make or give a very solid warning to anybody who's actually ever going to try to do stuff like this. And it's something I've even joked about on occasion and have actually told myself I need to do and need to get better about. But when it comes to doing sort of like let's plays or recorded playthroughs of video games that you're maybe going to share with people on the internet or you're going to share with others in any other way that you find, just always be 100% positive that you are making multiple save files as you go. Doesn't really matter what game it is. If it's like a PC game, you can just save scum the shit out of it. You'll probably be okay. Console games like this, like say RE7, for instance, I mean, you know, you've got access to multiple save files, so please use them because that alone would have solved this problem, and I wouldn't be sitting here talking over silent footage of RE7 if I'd have just followed my own advice and made multiple save files as I went about the game. Um, in any case, now I'm outside the house. My goal right now really is to go to that little trailer that you saw just before. But I'm doing a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of upkeep. I'm actually about to pick up a very important item that plays into a kind of long con I've been doing since I started playing this game, which involves the broken shotgun that I picked up from Granny's room upstairs on the second floor of the guest house. So the way this works, normally, I guess most people, myself included, when I first played this, um, you'll notice that in the main foyer and the main hall of the guest house, there's that I guess vaguely Confederate statue holding the M31 shotgun, which if you grab the broken shotgun from Granny's room on the second floor and bring it back down to the Confederate statue, you can trade out the M31 shotgun and replace it with the broken shotgun onto the statue, which will then allow you to, take the shotgun that you're wanting. However, that's not really the best idea. The game doesn't really tell you this, mind you. It doesn't ever really I don't think the developers necessarily expected anybody to put this together. It's a vague, I guess it's sort of a vague, not really a vague, it's kind of a straight up reference to the first Resident Evil game that involved a similar puzzle regarding a shotgun in that game, on a plaque. And the idea was that when you remove the shotgun, a trap, occurs, and that's where the Jill sandwich line comes from, anyways. But in this game, it's essentially the same idea. You grab the shotgun, the door behind you locks, and you can't get out, so you have to replace the shotgun with something else. Most people, I think, would replace it with a broken shotgun. However, if you are doing what I'm about to do right now, or that I've already done, underneath the porch of the guest house outside in front of the trailer, you can actually dig under there and find a repair kit. And if you take the repair kit and combine it with the broken shotgun, you get what is called the M21 shotgun. It's way, way better than the standard shotgun that you get from the Confederate statue. It holds less ammo. I think the M31 holds 6 rounds at full clip. I think I'm right. And the M21, it holds only 2 rounds per use. However, it does considerably more damage. I believe it's a little more accurate, and it's overall just a much better tool. And as you'll see later on, I don't want to necessarily spoil it for anybody who hasn't played the game yet, but there is a boss fight that occurs um, not too long from now, in a future episode, I suppose, that the shotgun comes in, the M21 shotgun comes in super handy for. So just as a for your information, if this is your first time playing the game, and if you're thinking about grabbing that M31 shotgun off the Confederate statue and replacing it with a broken shotgun, please don't. Just ignore it. Grab the broken shotgun, go underneath the porch, grab the repair kit, combine the two, and enjoy the rest of the game because it will essentially get you through just about everything else the game's going to throw at you. Especially with regards to the molded enemies, because that's where the shotgun probably shines the brightest. Um, as as the M21, because of its better accuracy. I think it has better range too. It's just a better gun in general than the M31. And because of all of that, like, molded enemies end up not being as much of a threat because a shotgun blast to the face will usually take them out without issue. Um, and so the M21 is just an absolutely necessary item throughout the game, and that's me right there, combining the repair kit with the broken shotgun. Now I've got the M21, which is an excellent weapon. Highly recommend you get that, especially if it's your first playthrough. You'll thank me later. Hmm. Um, from this point forward, I'm not really sure what else I do. I haven't, honestly, I was so irritated earlier today when I looked at this, and I kind of almost like threw it out completely and just said, "Oh fuck it, I'll just keep the game going. I won't even mention the fact that an entire boss sequence is just missing." Um, but yeah, what can I say? It's shit happens, unfortunately, and sometimes your audio hardware just decides to take a shit in the bed. So, oh well. Right here, I guess I could mention as well these bird cages with the numbers below them. So that's what the antique coins are used for. I've been collecting a few throughout this playthrough so far, and I got enough here so that I could buy a steroid shot, which once again I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, possibly, but it's utilized to extend Ethan's health indefinitely or permanently. I'm not really sure why they use the indefinitely word there, but whatever. So when it comes to the antique coins, always like you have a choice in this area right here, the trailer. You have a choice of steroids, which cost, I believe, 5 antique coins. There's a or maybe it was 7 antique coins for the steroids, and I think it's 5 for the stabilizer, which raises your reload speed. That's also very important. You should prioritize those two. There's a third bird cage over by over right over here, which has a Magnum pistol. To be honest, that's a completely optional thing. I think some people would argue, hey, you probably want to get that at some point because the game does occasionally throw some Magnum ammo your way. Myself, I don't really see the point in it. I think it's kind of superfluous, because by this point, you're already running with 4 different weapons in your weapon slots. You got your knife, your pistol, your shotgun. Well, you're about to have a fourth one. Next episode, I will be picking up a fourth one. And those are kind of your bread and butter weapons throughout the game. There's another weapon that I'm going to be picking up later too, which is entirely optional. And I would argue probably less optional than the Magnum pistol, anyways. It comes in use very heavily near the end of the game. It becomes a very very useful tool. So once that episode comes up, you'll know what it is. I'm just trying not to like spoil and explain away everything I'm going to be doing throughout the playthrough. But yeah, prioritize the stabilizer, steroid. Don't bother with the Magnum pistol. It's really not worth it. Um, But yeah, I think the next thing that's going to happen here is I'm poking around. I do that a lot in this game. I do that a lot in a lot of first-person games. I tend to poke around quite a bit. I don't know why. It's just kind of habit. But beyond the poking, also I'm getting a phone call from Zoe. So you can see the subtitles, and I don't think you really need my help reading them. But because you can't hear them, I guess I could just explain that Zoe is calling to let you know that she believes that there is a serum-based cure for whatever the hell she and Mia and everybody else in the Baker family are afflicted with. But she's not entirely sure if there is any physically available or if there's actually some kind of formula for it. But she is convinced that her mother, Marguerite, definitely probably knows something about it or has some info about it. So that kind of sets up what's going to happen in the next few episodes, where I'm going to be going to the old house, as she describes it, the old house near the water. And yeah, that's a fun section though, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing that. And I do apologize about this. I know this is really off the cuff. Trust me, it's extremely off the cuff because I certainly did not plan for this to happen. Like I said, things happen. Sometimes your hardware just does not want to cooperate. Incidentally, this headset I'm using, the only reason I am using it is, in fact, it has a virtual 5.1 surround sound setup built into it, like drivers wise. So it allows me to kind of have sort of immersive audio while I play a game like RE7. The microphone quality isn't exactly great, but the audio quality itself is really good. That's why I use it. Incidentally, I've made now, trying to think, I think I've made like 6 or 7 more recordings since this one, and have not had that problem rear its ugly head again. So hopefully, maybe that can stay consistent, and I don't have to do this again. But of course, like I said, if you're doing stuff like this, always have multiple save files available to you. Don't feel bad about like having 8 or 9 different files running at the same time. It's okay. It's better to just insure yourself and cover your ass than to have to sit here and do this sort of embarrassing walk of shame commentary to explain away why everything suddenly fell apart for no apparent reason. In any case, I hope you're enjoying this playthrough so far. I know I've been enjoying it immensely, as I expected I would. Hopefully, you'll stick around and watch the rest of it. Things start to get even more hairy and more exciting as I go along. And I promise that hopefully we will not have another issue like this again. In any case, this is Jared one more time. Thank you again for watching. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this RE7 playthrough. Thanks again, and bye-bye.